Well, ladies and gentlemen, so yes, welcome to the last Nakshatra stop for Saturn. And today we're going to be discussing what happens when Saturn is in the Nakshatra of Revati, the last Nakshatra, the last constellation in the zodiac belt, which expands from 640 of Pisces to 30 degrees of Pisces. So what happens when Saturn is sitting in this particular nakshatra in your horoscope? And as always, if you do not know, if you have this Saturn, where it's placed, what sign it's in, what nakshatra it's in, all the other astrological details, all the other planetary placements, for that check out the links here. Check out my full astrological report, including my books, Astrology, Conjunction, Aspects, and Mahadashas of the Speed of Light, including all my consultations at this link. So let's get started with our last nakshatra of Saturn. Although, don't worry. Saturn will be back in this nakshatra if you're smart. So, Revati Nakshatra. Nakshatra, which is signified by the fishes, is the last nakshatra. You know, it is controlled by the deep god of the sea, the ocean, who has, I believe, like many names of the sun. But you're putting Saturn in this nakshatra first, okay? So Saturn represents paternal uncles, servants, working class people, beggars, politicians. Saturn represents the masses that vote for you. Saturn represents your karma, the results of your karma. But also, again, Saturn can be your ascendant lord. It can be your Atmakarka. Okay, so Saturn may actually represent you as a person. So what you will notice, first of all, that Saturn, when you have Saturn in this nakshatra, either your paternal uncle or whichever house Saturn rules, maybe it's you, you're always looking for some suitable match, which you somehow can't seem to find. And especially they might be looking for a suitable match for their children. And usually when they find a suitable match, especially if you have a daughter, they might be taller than the husband. The other thing that happens with this Saturn in Revati Nakshatra is that these people are fond of fishing. These people are fond of wanting to spend a long duration of time in ocean and sea, meaning they especially you will notice your uncle, grandparents, whoever has this, they love going on ocean cruises, ship cruises. But naturally, Saturn, which represents our karmas that we must exhaust in this life, shows that ultimately the karma will always be towards seeking the truth, seeking spiritual enlightenment, searching and wanting to know why I'm here. What is the reason behind me being in this ocean called planet Earth? Naturally, Saturn will give love for playing some sort of a mechanical musical instrument like a guitar. Something which require mechanical skills. They become very good flute, playing the flute. Usually Revati is all about arts, media, dancing, creativity, like music and dancing. And this is all to do with the mythology of Brahma watching a musical performance. But naturally what happens with these people is that, especially if this is like your Atmakarka, and you will notice this as a person, that there will always be some symbolism related to fish in your life. Whether you love fishes, you love, women who love dolphins on their engagement rings, people who are advocate of ocean life, whales and sharks, all these documentaries that are coming out. They have this affinity to save fishes. But especially because Saturn represents our, exhausting of our karmas. Naturally, this person will always find themselves somehow at some point in their life, especially 36 onwards, following a very deep spiritual path. I don't care who they are. They can be actors, they can be fishermen, they can be lawyers, they can be IT professionals. 36th year is that trigger point to start understanding that deep spiritual path. Because what happens at 36? Saturn matures. Saturn says, this is who I am in your horoscope. Like every planet awakens, right? Like Jupiter awakens at 16, Moon at 18, Venus at 25, Mars at 28, Sun at 25 or 26. They all say like, this is who I am in your horoscope. This is who you really are. So if Saturn holds a very prominent position in your horoscope, let's say it's your ascendant lord, you will probably not even know who you truly are, even astrologically, until you're 36. Like, let's say if at 20, I wanted to learn about myself through astrology, and I read all the nakshatras, I read about all the planets, I'm still like, this is really not me. I have not dealt with any of these things. See what happens in astrology. And until you have crossed a certain age, let's say you're a Capricorn, Aquarius ascendant, and you cross that 36th year. Now you'll be like, oh my God, yes, everything that the nakshatra says, everything that the chart says, I have experienced all these things, my goodness. So that's what happens. These are kind of like the late bloomers in life, but especially late bloomers in the walk of spiritual path. They make great healers. They make, great medicinal doctors, especially like people who deal in like oceanic herbs. They make really great instructors, dance instructors, spiritual instructors. And naturally, this person, if you're an ascendant, if you're Pisces ascendant with Saturn sitting in here, you'll be very long and tall and lean and thin. You'll have this fish body. Even if you're a man, you'll have this long fish body that kind of like narrows down, and your feet will stick out like this. Like when you walk, you have this kind of like a walking thing. Why? Because Saturn represents feet. Okay, so when you walk, you will always just somehow walk with your feet sticking out like the fins of the fish. And especially if you have a servant, especially in India, it's very common to have a servant, right? Because here it's like you got to be making $1,000,000 to afford a servant here full time. But in India, it's normal. So if you have Saturn in Revati Nakshatra, ask your servant, are you having problem finding a groom for your daughter? And if your daughter got married, is she taller than the husband? Or maybe the same height? And also what happens with these people, they always, most of the time, they will go to some higher, older figure to find a suitable match for their daughter. Whether it's an astrologer, a guru, an elder in the family. And they will wait and be patient till they have met this elder in the family. So these are the trains of Saturn and Revati, but mainly your karma has to be exhausted in spiritual world. I don't care what you do. If they're not exhausted, your karma is not fulfilled. Your karma is not paid back. Okay? So guys, this is my analysis of Saturn in Revati Nakshatra. And please leave a comment below as to which planet you think I should do next. So far, in my last video that I made, people are asking about Venus, but whatever you like, leave a comment. Let's see, which planet I cover next week. And if you're new to my channel, subscribe below. Again, if you want to know any readings, consultations, reports, check out the links here. Otherwise, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.